Greetings from South Korea. I am Arirang News AI anchor. Here is the news making headlines today. President Lee Jae-myung returned to Korea on Thursday after attending this year's G7 summit in France. On Wednesday at the G7, he joined a working session on global economic imbalances and sustainable growth. The session was followed by a working lunch where world leaders and tech giants discussed artificial intelligence. Having wrapped up his 10-day trip to Europe, President Lee is expected to shift his focus back to domestic affairs. On Friday, he will chair a meeting with his top aides to review the country's summer emergency preparedness. Korea's benchmark KOSPI made history on Thursday, surpassing the 9,000-point milestone for the first time. The index has surged more than 115% this year, fueled by an AI-driven semiconductor boom. Market heavyweight SK Hynix has led the charge, hitting a record high amid reports that the company may pursue an 8-year listing and launch share buybacks. On the same day, the company announced that it had supplied samples of its next-generation HBM for Egypt's two major clients. Easing geopolitical tensions between the United States and Iran also helped cool oil prices, further boosting investor sentiment. While global banks are already eyeing the historic 10,000-point mark, experts urge caution, warning that the market's rapid gains could lead to heightened volatility in the months ahead. The government is stepping up risk monitoring after the U.S. Federal Reserve signaled further policy tightening. At a meeting of top economic and financial policymakers on Thursday, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and Economy Koo Yoon-chul pledged to strengthen an integrated risk management framework and take preemptive measures when necessary. The move comes after the U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to leave its benchmark rate unchanged on Wednesday, while signaling further rate hikes ahead. This has heightened focus on Korea's policy outlook as the BOK signals inflation will stay elevated despite easing oil prices. The United States and Iran have remotely signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at ending the conflict and reopening the Strait of Hormuz. According to U.S. officials cited by Axios, President Donald Trump signed the document on Wednesday, days ahead of a planned in-person ceremony in Switzerland. Earlier on Wednesday, the U.S. released a full text of the 14-point memorandum, declaring an immediate and permanent end to military operations, including in Lebanon. The U.S. will begin lifting its maritime blockade immediately, while Iran will work to restore the free movement of commercial vessels through the critical Strait of Hormuz and return shipping levels to normal. The two sides also agreed to a 60-day negotiating period aimed at reaching a broader agreement on Iran's nuclear program. Movie theaters saw a sharp surge in audience numbers during the first half of this year. According to the Korea Film Council, box office admissions hit over 53 million between January and June 16, up over 25% on year. Findings also show those in their 20s accounting for a tangible portion of the audience for K-movies such as Colony. That is all from me today. Thank you for watching.